Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Jacob's Ladder. That is right, I am your host, Jacob Israel! Happy you're all here. Thank you for pressing the play button. Spending a little time with me. I gotta lower this. Be quiet. We don't want to hear my wife's computer. I'll figure it out. Shh. Okay, good. We got a lot to get into. Look at this thumbnail. Can anybody say Betelgeuse, Betelgeuse, Betelgeuse 3 times in the comment section for me? Do you know what that means when you say Betelgeuse 3 times? The nasty monster goes bye-bye. Oh. There's so many weird things that are always happening. And this week did not disappoint. We have quite a few things to discuss. Hope you're excited. I hope you're buckled up, because there are going to be a lot of booms going on. Ba-ba-ba-boom! Who heard the mystery explosion across Washington, D.C.? Ooh, it was a scary one. It was a loud boom. Ba-boom. Ba-boom. People were, they thought it was like an earthquake or a weird thing. Turns out it was a sonic boom. Sonic booms that are made by the old supersonic jets. I don't know if they're supersonic, but if it's a sonic boom, I would think that, breaks the sound barrier and kaboom. Spooky, scary. Scarier still is what happened to the Cessna plane that crashed into a mountain. But not just any mountain. The Shenandoah Mountain. This is where the story gets weird. This is where it gets weird. Okay, this is where it gets weird. We have a lot to talk about. By the way, welcome. If you're new to the channel, I'm Jacob Israel. I get a little excited on the live shows. I hope that you can hit that subscribe button. It's right there in the corner, one of the corners. You just click it. And then click the bell for notifications, because you don't want to miss out. It's every episode that we do here, it seems that it leads into the next. And I do a lot of the little, we'll say, predicting, if you will. People, when they're talking about sports, they kind of tell you what the season's going to be like. I'm telling you what the season's going to be like in the world, especially with the things that I got to share today. So, let's start off with the Cessna. We're going to get into Twitter Spaces. We're going to get into the Kennedy. We're going to get into a lot of stuff. Stuff going on with Betelgeuse. A lot of stuff. And we're going to get into the Trumpster. Oh yeah. We got a lot of stuff to get into with him. And I hope that you like mythology or folklore and the old stories. The old stories by the what are they called? The Brothers Grimm. Anybody know the Brothers Grimm? Those spooky dudes. Wonder what it was like growing up in the Brothers Grimm's house. They have a lot of scary. I think you tell me in the live chat. By the way, we got a lot of people here already. Oh, what are you doing? You're here already. I appreciate it. So I have a question for you. Tell me in the live chat if you know the Brothers Grimm stories. I remember reading one. I went into the old Shiloh's. This is years ago. I went to read to her class because, I like to be super dad. I want to be the best. So I go into the class to read the story, and it was one of the Grimm stories. And like halfway through, I had to stop because I realized I'm reading this to like second and third graders, and it was just god-awful scary. Horrible. Isn't that what happens in this world today? Isn't this the stuff that they're, showing the children all the time? I just saw some video today of some art exhibit, I think in Canada, where like a grown man gets naked in front of, and it's supposed to be something to do with helping people to deal with, who knows, perversion. Really spooky stuff. But I feel like it's thrust on you, probably like these Grimm stories, and there's a connection to these stories. And the Cessna plane. So there was this huge boom that happened in Washington, D.C., and you probably heard about it, but I guarantee you, hang on, let me tell you, I'm going to smack dab, double darn, dare tell you that I guarantee you haven't been told this before. I guarantee it. I don't even know if there's a thing to it, but I started peeling back some layers, and after I peeled back about 15 of them, I found something very interesting and spooky. But let's just get to the news of this whole thing. It was a lady and her daughter, and this is really horrible, okay? This is horrible. We don't like to hear about anybody having any terrible accidents or anybody losing their lives, and this is what happened. They lost their lives. The cause of the crash, they say, is unconfirmed. But this mystery explosion, we do know that it was from a very, very big time super supporter of the Trumpster. A lot of the papers are calling him a MAGA donor, a donor into the old MAGA. I don't know why this is a thing, but for whatever reason, they're forcing this down our throat. And just so you know, this plane was flying, and it went over airspace that it shouldn't have, and it was unresponsive, and then it ended up crashing into the Shenandoah Valley. Shenandoah Valley, which is very significant when it comes to, like Civil War. just I feel like we're maybe we are in a simulation, and I do feel like the story is just getting more and more almost ridiculous. Like if this was your mother's or your grandmother's or your father's or grandfather's soap, you'd probably say, "Poppy, Mommy, what are you doing watching this stuff? It's very unbelievable." But this story is supposed to be literal, and it supposedly literally happened. The victims of the private jet over the weekend, after these F-16 fighters were scrambled to Virginia, triggering this sonic boom, which is what everybody was reporting, well, they passed as it crashed in this Shenandoah Valley. The Shenandoah Valley, which ironically is connected to this. Yeah, Shenandoah. It has captivated Americans since before the revolution. It seems like this is, kind of like synonymous with the old Revolutionary War, and I find it to be strange. Almost as strange as the fact that the GOP's daughter and granddaughter were killed with their nanny on this private crash, which supposedly didn't have anybody flying it. It was on like autopilot or something. A little bit, that's like right off the bat, it's a little bit suspect. You know where they were flying to? The airport down the street from my house, Long Island, MacArthur Airport. What are they doing flying to Long Island? Maybe they're visiting Linda Yaccarino, who's going to be taking over as the CEO of Twitter. Did you know Yaccarino? Not that she's just connected to the Economic Forum of the World and all that stuff, but that she's a huge MAGA supporter. Did you know that? A lot of people don't know that. Isn't that interesting? It's interesting. I think we're going to hear a lot of news in the coming days. Twitter shakeups and everything else. I just got a feeling. I got a vibe. I'm putting it out there. I don't know if it's true, but we're going to see. Because faith comes by hearing, so we've heard it now, and we're going to see if God's going to honor. Because we want truth. We want freedom. And we worry that some of the people that are put in charge may not be for that. On their way to Long Island. That's where Yaccarino's from. She wasn't visiting Yaccarino. I don't know why I went on that tangent, but they have a lot in common. They're both big fans of the Trumpster. Now this guy, her father, John Rumpel. That's the guy to the right. He's wearing the big cross. Him and his wife there, they look like they're having a good old time. They're probably on a hunting adventure or something. He's a big-time executive for the NRA. He's an exec. Very wealthy guy, too. Very powerful, very big donor. Now, so of course, me, I like to look names up, right? So the first thing I type in, I just type in Google and I type in Rumpel. That's it, just to see what the name means. And this is what comes up. Rumpelstiltskin. Now, it sounds like, oh, Jacob, that's a little bit of a stretch, right? I mean, that's a little bit of a coincidence. What does Rumpelstiltskin have to do with, the Donald? Well, it seems like there are a lot of people that think that Rumpelstiltskin has a lot to do with the Donald, but that's not why I'm talking about it. There's a hidden meaning to this story that we're going to get into in a bit. But before we want to dive into that, I want to explain that this poor guy, oh my goodness, this is now the second daughter he's lost to some kind of tragedy that is suspect. Very strange. The donor and his wife, whose daughter and granddaughter they just lost their lives on this plane, heading towards MacArthur Airport near me, where the Yacarino is from. Well, when their older daughter, years ago, 1994, lost her life in a scuba tragedy. What? How do you lose two daughters to two freak accidents, one in the air and one in the sea? It's weird. Story of Rumpelstiltskin has to do with children, making a little bit of a deal. Making a deal. I'll give you a little background on the old Rumpelstiltskin. We got a lot of people watching. Wow. And I want to thank all of you. Look at all of you who hit the like. I didn't even have to ask for liking. A bunch of you DM me. You said, this is what you do from now on. You just thank people. Thank you. Thank you for liking. It does help. Thank you for subscribing and making sure you're still subscribed. It helps like you wouldn't believe. This is why I think we got like 1,000 people watching already. And if you're here on the playback, I'm so happy you're here. This is exciting. A big show for you. I got a big show for you. Rumpelstiltskin. Let me tell you the tale of Rumpelstiltskin. Okay? So there's this miller. You know what a miller is? A miller is like, he's a guy who takes like stuff and he turns it into like thread. Okay, we'll say. There's a spiritual meaning to all this. But his daughter, he makes his deal with this king, whatever. My daughter is so great, she can spin any kind of hay and she could spin it into gold. So the king's like, I'm going to put her in prison then. And I'm going to put her in prison and then I'm not going to let her out until she spins some gold. Well, she's there. Obviously, she doesn't got no magic powers, But we know somebody who's got those magic powers, who's connected to gold. Everything he touches turns to gold. We know him. His name's Rumpelstiltskin. And this guy, who's a troll, basically, he's like a troll. He's like, spooky guy. He makes a deal. He makes a deal with the daughter to help her out. He basically says, look, you know what I'm going to do? You do this for me and we'll be okay. And he does this. She spins all the gold. The king gets crazy. Then he says, okay, come on. I'm going to show you another room. Puts her in a bigger room with even more hay. So what's she got to do? She's got to make another deal with the old Rumpelstiltskin. Got to make a deal with the devil. If you want the gold, got to make a deal with the guy who can spin a yarn. Is salesman, Rumpelstiltskin he was. Rumpelstiltskin. So, does it again. It all works out. And then the king comes and says, you know what? Not only am I going to set you free now, if you could do this again for me, I'm going to marry you. And basically gives her this task. And she's like, she wants out. She wants freedom. So she makes a deal. Because Rumpelstiltskin says, I'll give it to you. But you got to give me your child. You got to give me your child. You got to give me your kid. I'm going to make a deal. I want your children. I'm going to take care of you, but I want your children. I want them to be mine. That's what Rumpel says. Did I say that scary enough? I want them to be mine. That's the way Rumpelstiltskin talked. She makes the deal. Now, a little bit of a problem here is, that's not great because she ends up pregnant. Now she's got to give her child to this, a prince, to this devil, if you will, this troll, this spinner of a tale who could turn things into gold, everything he touches. What ends up happening? Well, she finds a way to kind of trick him. He basically gives her 3 days to figure out his name. It's interesting because you think of Rumpelstiltskin. And as I'm looking into the story and I'm thinking 3 days to figure out the name. And I'm looking also into the story of Betelgeuse. Remember Betelgeuse, Betelgeuse, Betelgeuse. If you can get him to say it 3 times, he goes away, kind of a deal. And I just find that's an interesting connection. A very interesting connection. But before I even get into that, I think that I have to point out that a lot of people think that, there's the Betelgeuse, by the way, if you want to take a look. Right now, 50% brighter. There's a lot of weird stuff going on with Betelgeuse, but not as weird as the fact that everybody thinks that the old Trumpster is Rumpelstiltskin, if you will. Stephen Colbert called him a terrible name, Rumpelstiltskin. That was like news all over the place. There was a article written that kind of went all over the place called the Rumpelstiltskin syndrome about him as president and the effects that he may have and what he may have if elected again. Can we do it a second time? How about a third time? What if he becomes the last president? Like there's a Inger Eversol's the name. There's a series of books. There's a whole thing about Trump being a time traveler. I've talked about this on the show, right? Many times. I have videos on this going back years. There's a series of books that were written about the last president and the adventures of Baron Trump, and it's just very interesting. For those of you that don't know, you could basically lend some credibility to the story because Nikola Tesla, who had, of course, all of these weapons and all of these things that supposedly the government wanted when he was passing away, and he was flat broke in this hotel, most smartest guy in the world. This is the way the system treats you. Well, John Trump, Donald's uncle, went in there and got all the information. So a lot of people think, he had the blueprints to the time travel, and of course he goes back in time, and this is why we have Back to the Future, and Biff Tannen is basically him. A whole thing about this. I'm not saying that that's the case. I do find it all interesting. But I find it very interesting that a lot of people compare him to Rumpelstiltskin. Because I'm just doing this show, and here's John Rumpel, a guy whose 2 daughters die under very mysterious circumstances. In a place, one of them dies in a place that's connected to like the Revolutionary War. And right? Weird, right? Because all of this stuff, it's very strange. And if you look at the Shenandoah Valley where this woman, this MAGA donor's daughter, passed away, it's known as the breadbasket of the, I don't even want to say it because, you never know with these things. Let me just put this up here so that you can see it. I'm making this a lot more difficult than I need to. Move out of the way, Stephen Colbert. Okay. The breadbasket of, here, boom, take a look. Right there. Interesting. You know that cross, that Crusaders cross? You know all those flags that they have problem with? Down south, you see them. Dukes of Hazzard had them, right? Well, Shenandoah Valley is known as the breadbasket of the old Confederacy. It's interesting. It's interesting to me. It's interesting to me that people like Erickson, he's got a big following on Twitter. I just learned about him today. Just like, last month was saying Trump is like Rumpelstiltskin, but he turns poo-poo into gold. Poopy. He can touch poopy and turn it into gold. And isn't that right about the Donald? Isn't he known to be the guy? He's all about gold. Isn't that interesting? It's interesting stuff to me. It's very interesting to me that all of these things seem to be happening today. And a time where now you could talk about information pertaining to where you cast your votes. On YouTube, it's like, yeah, go ahead. Now you could say that it wasn't real. Now you could say it was, you could say that people were cheaters. It was cheaters. People were cheating. People were cheating. You could say that now. You could go on there. I'm not saying it because I don't know. I don't really trust the system. I don't really trust the system too much. I would like to. I'm hoping that we are in the process of finding a new one. I think that if you tell me in the live chat right now, all of you, thank you for coming. Hello to you. Hello to all of you. Tell me. I mean, do you think that it's possible we could actually have some moral leadership that is not corrupted to the core? I don't know, but I'll tell you one thing: if things keep going the way they're going, we may have a little bit of a problem. How do I know this? Because it seems that Betelgeuse, which is known as it's kind of like Betelgeuse it's just huge, gigantic, so much bigger than our sun. It's far away. It's in Orion, the constellation of Orion. They call it Orion's shoulder, or the right shoulder, not the left, the right shoulder, or Orion's arm. Some people compare Betelgeuse to Christ because, if Orion was symbolic of, some say, Osiris, he's known as the hunter. So much mythology that is connected to this, but Betelgeuse, which is mentioned in the book of Job, some say is symbolic of Christ. The arm, the branch that's mentioned in, I believe it's the book of Zechariah and the book of Malachi. I didn't prepare to talk to you about all of that, but there's a little bit of history to you, I think. Betelgeuse in ancient history, in Arabic, to the ancient Egyptians, the constellation was Osiris, a god and a primeval king. Osiris, that many say is Christ. Interesting. So we see here how Betelgeuse, say that name 3 times, he disappears, supposedly, right? In 3 days, if you come up with my name, I'll disappear completely. 3 days. 3. Symbolic of the resurrection of Christ. Here we have a picture. Betelgeuse. Get this. And I'm not saying this to get you all scared, because even if it goes supernova, which a lot of people think is going to happen probably in about 1,000 years or something, it's not going to really affect us that much, but we'll see it. It'll look cool. But it's 50% brighter right now. Okay, I want to show you. Now, I get excited over these little things. And why? Well, because if Betelgeuse is connected to and symbolic of Christ, the branch, the arm of God, if you will, the hand of God, the right hand of the Father, which is where Christ sits, Betelgeuse is 50% brighter than it's ever been before. Isn't that great, everybody? You're doing good. You're 50% of the way there. Now shine brighter. We need you 100% brighter for the days to come, because there's going to be such a shakeup that you're going to want to be prepared, spiritually speaking. I'm prepared, spiritually speaking. And how do I do this? Well, I'm a good person. I try my best. I love people. I forgive. I'm kind. I pray. I do good things for other people. I try to go out of my way to help people. And I want and desire to be used to make this world better. Don't want to share hate. I don't want to share fear. I want to encourage you and lift you all up. But I got to tell you, Betelgeuse is only 50% brighter. We could do better. We could do better. Don't you think in a live chat we could do better? Sean, and I know Sean. Everybody knows Sean, right? Sean's been around for a long time. Sean says, I feel 50% brighter. Good for you, Sean. Who else feels 50% brighter? I feel that way tonight. I'm excited. I really, really, really am excited. I get jazzed up when I know that my words that I'm speaking come from a place of sincere faith, where I say, okay, teach me what to say, help me to say it, blow the shofar before I come on, And I know you're not going to judge me if I sound like a wackadoo, because these things, these stories that I'm telling you, I see it as great encouragement, almost like, here's the deal. The world's going to have to make the deal with the old Rumpelstiltskin, right? 2 children, John Rumpel loses. Very, very wild stuff. I say things, I don't reach that many people. I mean, if I'm lucky, every video will get about 50,000 views. That's huge. Considering back in 2015, 2016, we were looking at just a couple of hundred, okay? It's huge. But in the grand scheme of things, I'm not reaching millions, right? Like people are all the time, like the Tim Pools of the world and, all the other YouTubers that are out there. I'm not like Elon Musk reaching a lot of people. He had a Spaces tonight, by the way. I don't know if you knew this on Twitter. I listened to it. It was really good. And he had the old Robert Kennedy on there and did a great job. He was he really just was very appreciative to Elon and really just saying how great Elon. It really, I got to tell you, I listened to it and I'm thinking, this is really good what he's doing, because Robert Kennedy's being like censored everywhere else. Everybody's kind of keeping him back, but here he comes on this platform and Elon's like, hey, I'm gonna put you out. Now, I will say that DeSantis had a lot more people watching than Kennedy watched, but there was a poll that was put out. Let me see if I can find this poll. Here we go. I'll pull this over. Look at this, huh? How professional am I? This poll was put out. Who would you vote for in the primary by Wall Street Silver? And 92% of the 82,000 votes were like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Thank you very much. Nobody wanted the guy that we've been biding our time with, which is interesting because supposedly he was the most popular president of all time, right? And now we can question that. We can say, is that true? Is that why there were always these circles around? Remember back when he was on the road, there were like 10 people in the audience. Then you go in the Trump rallies are just packed out. And what did I tell you all? I said, this looks like a setup. I don't think he's going to win. And then everybody's going to question it because it's ridiculous to think that this guy would win. Well, it still looks ridiculous as Robert Kennedy is seeming to do much, much, much better. Much, much better. Dale Val says, take him with a grain of Musk. I think I don't know what that means, but that's funny. That's funny. Tex Lock says, RFK over Trump for sure. Most anyone in politics has no soul, JS says. Go Cart Bob. The Bible says many antichrists, not just one. And I got to tell you, Go Cart Bob has been around here a long time, and he's right. The world is filled with them. Very, very true. We don't got to worry about just one person, people. We got to worry about that negative lying voice that comes in our own head and tries to convince us that we are a bunch of, mean people that should just do mean things and behave in terrible ways. That negative lying voice that's in our head is horrible. Horrible. Well, so Jack Dorsey also said, I'm endorsing this guy. This is the guy that I want. This is the guy that I want. Sounds very patriotic, Jack Dorsey. Jack Dorsey also just said it's the end of an empire. Wait till you see how this all ties together with a nice little bow. It's just amazing to me. Because I got to tell you, I don't have a team working with me. All these shows that I do, all these intricate little connections that are made, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I wake up in the morning, take care of my family, clean the house a little bit. I do a lot of praying, I get to the gym, start searching. Then things come to me. Sometimes a lot of you send me stuff. Whew! Weird stuff. What's weirder? Weirder is I think big names are watching me. I don't like to brag about it. I do say it a lot, though. I do talk about the people that are watching me a lot. It's true. It's true. I think they are. I don't know for sure. We know that over the years, if you've been watching, over the years, we've had a lot of things that have kind of lined up where I'll talk about something, then boom, Elon will, he'll tweet out about it. Remember I was talking about bears all the time, then boom, there's the bears, right? Remember I said that Trump, Mr. Ye, that's Kanye, right? He got caught yelling at some paparazzi that was following him to church. He was swearing at him and stuff. Must be hard though. You don't want to be followed. Must be very difficult. We gotta consider that you get all this fame, you get all this fortune, you think that that's the pinnacle. You got no life. Like I can go places and people don't recognize me. Except for I got recognized once at Dave & Buster's in front of all my family, and I felt like a rock star. It was great. I was taking pictures and everything else, and I kept like pointing to Danielle, like, "You see what's going on here? See, your husband's got it was fun. It was fun. Hasn't happened since. But if you ever see me in public, please do come over to me and say something, and please and then tell everybody who I am and where to find me. So. A lot of weird things with the old Elon we've made a lot of connections. Like when I said that Donald Trump and him and Kanye they're like the three amigos, right? They're like superheroes. I said, you're going to join forces, right? And then like and that video, by the way, was called 11/11. Then like a couple of days later, Elon tweets out at exactly 11/11, a picture of him, Kanye, and Trump as like the three musketeers, making that X with the swords. Weird, right? Well, this has been going on for a long time, and it hasn't seemed to stop, and I appreciate it, Elon. I want to let you know I appreciate it. I know you won't come out and just say, look, I like the channel, I like what you're doing, and everything else, because I do, of course, call into question the fact that you're like the most powerful person in the world. You're connected to everybody, and you seem very nice, but you could be very spooky to a lot of people. Especially now that you're going to be, you own the biggest social media platform in the world, and you got the satellites that are, if anything happens, that's the only communication we're going to have, and it's all a little much, So you could see a lot of us getting concerned and nervous, but I like to hold out hope because I remember that the story of Joseph. Joseph, Pharaoh, saw a good man who could definitely interpret the signs, who was intuitive, and Pharaoh's like, you know what? You're a moral person. You figure it out. So we know that even the most powerful people in the world, God can use, and I believe he's using Elon. I just don't know. I don't know how that's going to be. Same thing with Trump. Same thing with all of them. So we might as well have fun. But I'll tell you what, I had a lot more fun when I've been talking about He-Man a lot. Who remembers in the live chat that I've been talking about He-Man? How long have I been talking about He-Man? About 2 weeks now, right? He-Man, I made the joke. Anybody ever had a problem with, he's a man. Nobody had a problem. And there was like Sheena, and they all had their names weren't very, they weren't very affirming, if you will. Oh, you got to be careful the way you talk today. But I've been talking about He-Man. I don't know why. You know why? I'll tell you why. Because if you take the look to the right corner, he has that Crusader's cross on his chest. There you go. There you go. That Crusader's cross is a thing, people. It's like the Knights Templar, right? Okay, so there you see above where the sword is, you see I put out a little poem the other day, and it was June 2nd. Now, I'd already been talking about He-Man for about a week, and I just kept posting. It seemed like I probably posted about He-Man like 4 times on Twitter. Who knows why? And I wrote, "Oh, search my depths, O Lord. Show me the way to live secure. Search me, Lord. Help me to remain pure, to not follow the world's ways, but to fearlessly follow yours. The wolves, the bears, the kraken, and the dragon are at the door. Search me, O Lord, and find the strength I will need to endure." Because I know the coming days are going to be spooky. I know that we got the wolf, we got the kraken, we got the bear, we got it all at the door. Right? Literally, there's a movie right now about the Kraken. Literally. We got a lot of things going on. We got the bear market we got to deal with. It's all here. Right? We got wolves. We got the dragon. Got SpaceX Dragon going and meeting in the country of the red dragon. And guess what next year is? Year of the Dragon. Did I say that cool? Hard, because I talk so much my voice. I used to have such a beautiful voice. I would sing to you if I had the voice I had 5 years ago. I'm not going to sing. I'm not going to do that to you. It'll be lame. So my point is that I'm talking about He-Man all the time, and then guess who, out of the blue, 2 days later, that was my last post, was on the 2nd, posts He-Man. That's right, Elon. I mean, at this point, it looks like he may be a little lonely. Maybe he's having, because it looks like, I'm going to pull this over. Let me just pull this over so you can take a better look at it. So there's He-Man, and he's heartbroken. He's heartbroken, and he misses his true love. What is Elon tweeting out He-Man for? Does anybody know? Does anybody know? It's not like other people were talking about He-Man. And I know that it seems right now that I'm like, I've gone over the deep end here, like acting as if that this is once again proof that the most powerful and the wealthiest man in the world is an Israelite. That would be cool, right? Could you imagine? He wears in his, if you look at his avatar, he's wearing his Halloween outfit. I don't know if you know this. If you follow him on Twitter. By the way, follow me on Twitter. It's JacobIsrael71. I love Twitter. I do. And I'm not one of the guys that pays $8 because when they raised the price to $11, that's when I got in. And I'm nervous to stop paying the subscription. But it's a write-off for me. So I guess. I don't buy anything for myself, and I enjoy Twitter. But follow me on there if you want. I share a lot of stuff, and I put a lot of breadcrumbs out there. And this was very interesting that he would put out something about He-Man. For what reason? Maybe to say he's lonely. Maybe to say he needs a real friend. Well, everybody here at Jacob's Ladder is your friend. So we want you to do good. We want you to help people. And you all scare us. You do. You do. You know why I get so, I don't want to say concerned, but I saw a lot of stuff happening back in the day that's actually happening now. Like a lot of stuff. The fact that right now we have, YouTube's like, you can now start to call into question all of that stuff. There wasn't anybody, I want to say this to you, when that first election went south, right? As I said that it might, as I tweeted it out, as I did videos about it, because I had a dream. Take a look. This is the name of the video. Revelation's fatal head wound revealed. I know if you've been following a long time, you're probably like, how many times are we going to see this video, Jacob? We get it. We get it, right? God said something. You heard. Okay, we get it, right? We get it. You look to the right, the video that was like just the next video or the one after it. You got the guy that we're biding our time with holding a laptop that was destroyed. And what's in the news all about the laptop? All of this I find to be very interesting. Very interesting. Especially since if you look at the news posts right below that thumbnail, they're like saying he was bribed and he has shell companies. They're going to launch a contempt process. Oversight committees viewing these documents. They can't believe that they shared all this stuff. Like they thought they were going to just accidentally lose all this information, but the information's there. Thank you, Will You Teach Me? That's a great name. It reminds me of the Teach Me the Truth shirt. Will You Teach Me? What a great name. Thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate it. If I missed you on the super chat, just email me. JacobIsrael1111@yahoo.com so I can properly thank you because I really appreciate it. But I got the two screens, so I should be able to catch you. It's you got no idea how much all of this helps I'm going to be doing a thing for Patreon very soon. Just Patreon only, and some people on PayPal. I'm going to also send it to them, the people that support me there. I'm going to do something because I'm coming on this 200,000 mark. I've been coming on it for I don't know, it seems like a year. But it's getting closer and closer, so we'll see what happens. But it's going to be a first time. And I talked to Marv, and I've talked to a couple of other people. I'm thinking of bringing people on the show and doing interviews, but in-depth interviews. Don't you want to know about Adam and Dex? You want to know where they came from? You want to know what they were from? You want to know any of the I want to get deep. I just think it would be fun. I just think it would be fun because a lot of these people are very cool, and they've been cool to me, and they've had me on their shows, and it's nice. There's not a lot of people on YouTube that support me, and the people that do, I am grateful to all of you, and I will be having you on, Leap Project, Scariest Movie Ever, Willing Witness, Donut. I'll be having you guys on, and we'll be talking. We'll be talking. Well, so back to the Trump. So before all of this stuff, you couldn't talk about election stuff. You couldn't. But now there's a new thing with the old YouTubes, and they're saying it's okay. This is a huge switch, right? You're not going to hear me change, right? Because I'm not going to get into any of that stuff. I think the whole thing, as I said, I think it's all a yarn, a golden yarn that's being spun. It's all MAGA. It's all witchcraft in a grand scheme of things. I just feel like it all is. So I had a feeling that it was coming. I told everybody it was coming, and there's proof that I did. Will they try to fake it? And in the video, we learned that the death, if you will, that fatal head wound, could have something to do with politically, right? Because in this dream that I had, he was dead in a coffin on one side, and on the other side he was laughing and dancing and having a good old time. And let me play it. Let me play it for those that haven't seen it. It's only a couple seconds. Here you go. So I have a dream. It's a very strange dream. I don't pay much attention to it. In the dream, and it was a couple of them, but this one was the one that stood out the most. In the dream, I, for some reason, was with one arm was carrying the casket of our president. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but it was open. But on the left-hand side of me, there was our president. So it was very strange. There was it was one in the casket with the casket wide open. There was also, I just want to pause that for a second. Take a look at the bottom. That was October 10th, 2020, people. This is before the election. All right? Let's put that in perspective. Remember there being I noticed there was moss on the bottom of the casket. Moss that was growing there. But in the dream, the president was smiling, he was laughing, he was having a great old time, and here I am carrying this, and I didn't understand. I'm like, oh! And then I woke up and I'm like, oh, I get it. It's going to be like a fake thing, right? So I have a dream. It's a very strange dream. I don't pay much attention. You start to put all this stuff together, and you start to think to yourself, well, maybe, the closer we get to that 2023, 2024 mark, I said we're going to start to see it. When he was taking off every platform, I said, he'll get it back. You'll see. And he got it back. Not only did he get it back, he got his own platform. Think about this for a second. And the person who's in charge of the old Twitter, big supporter, it seems like. Interesting. It's like it's all coming together. Very weird. But is it that weird to think that maybe all of this is the end of an era, the end of an empire? Now, in the scriptures, just so you know, this is in the book of Revelation. This is prophesied, right? So there's this whore system, this whore Babylon system. It's a very perverse, very corrupt system. Right? The one that got drunk on the blood of the saints. It's just like this picture of this woman, but really the woman's riding this multicolored beast. Multicolored beast! We got issues today with multicolors. So this woman's riding this multicolored beast. Think about that for a second. How interesting is this? And, a lot of people are dying because they had to do things that maybe they didn't want to do. Oh, God doesn't like that. God doesn't like that because there's always going to be just fruits, just rewards for those people that are doing bad. So what happens? Well, this beast rises, got this fatal head wound, seems like he's out of the works, and then all of a sudden there he is, and guess what? He makes war against this system, this beast that comes in. And everybody's like, oh, cool, you're the best, we love you, right? You're the best. It's like the false light brings back the temple and everything else. Then when the temple's back, stands in that temple, says, I did this. Who could do this but me, right? Who's like me? Who's like me? Sound like anybody we know? I'm not saying that's the case, but there's like this physical representation. Of course, the Antichrist, I'm not saying is the Trumpster. No, because the Antichrist is in all of us. The temple, we're the temple. That voice where the Antichrist stands in the temple declaring himself the God, it's just a negative voice in our head. But because people are silly and they don't pay attention, you got to get some kind of physical representation to tell the story. You know? You got to have like an example to learn from. Right? Right? Well, what if we got a whole new ball game? What if there ain't no America anymore? What if the old U.S. of A. is a done deal? It's like it's done. We don't even know it's done. Now, I'm not saying it is, but I'm saying what if? Because there's some rumblings that maybe all of this stuff that happened, you know, you look at the other countries, everything seems so corrupt, right? Everything seems so backwards. The lady that was like just the meanest and most foul person forever. I think it was in New Zealand or Australia or something. She just got an award for what a great job she did. These were like really mean people that did, in my opinion, I don't know better, horrible things. They said horrible things. There's going to be a price to pay. Now, they all stepped down, by the way. They all stepped down. You know, that movie was just released, too. A lot of people made a big deal of that. It's like now the niche world of, we'll say, conspiracies. You know, it was like a red carpet and everything. You had, the Godfather who wears the NASA shirt and every appearance he can get. Same one for the last couple of years. Mr. Jones. And he was there. A lot of other people were there. Not painting the old guy whose name rhymes with Ouchie in a good light. There's going to be hell to pay. It's going to be hell to pay. And somebody just paid me $10. Kitty meow. Thank you very much. Get so many compliments on all your shirts. Oh, I am so glad that you wear them. Hey, by the way, if you guys and gals and whoever you want to be, if you want to get any of the merch, it is very supportive of the channel. You can get the links are in the description. I got a lot of them. This one's going away very shortly. This is my favorite. And I will bring it back if it does go away. Maybe gone already. I don't know. But if the country is gone, then you probably wouldn't want them singing the Star-Spangled Banner. And it seems like that was what happened at the old Capitol. These kids, these cute kids, they were singing on the Masonic checkerboard, the black and white checkerboard. They're singing in the hall of the Capitol. And as they're singing this beautiful song, guess what happens? One of the guards gets into, you could see during the video, it's like saying, you got to shut this down. You got to shut this down. And then finally, like, I guess somebody who was connected to the group came over and got him to stop. And of course, this made headlines. This made, well, maybe not headlines. You probably didn't hear about it. But in the niche world of, I guess, Twitter and Twitter, pretty much. That's where I got it from. Everybody was going crazy about this. Everybody was like, can you believe this? Can you believe it? I was like, well, what if the empire's over? What if the empire is over? And let's take a look at this. Because I'll tell you, the kids, they were cute. And they sang so, oh, where is it? Is it here? Do I have it? There we go. All right, let's play a little of this. Check out that checkerboard floor, huh? Check out that checkerboard floor. That's in all the stuff. You know, it's in all the stuff. Because we're all being played. So I'm just going to fast forward this a little bit so we don't have to go too long. So you see the guard is, she's just got a text or something. And she's like, what do I got to do now? I got to do this. And then she's like, okay, we got to stop this. We got to shut this down. I just got the text from the old boss. And they said they can't be singing in here. No. We got to do something. The other guy's like, well, really, the kids, they came a long way. And we came on the bus. And we got an approval. We got an approval from this. No. This email right here, look at my phone. This email says straight from the top that you got to stop. We can't be having any kind of patriotic music in the cabin. It's not permitted, and we got to do something about it right now. You got that? Okay, good. Go ahead. I'm calling it in. He's like, what do I got to do? What do I got to do? Hang on a second. You go over there and you tell him to stop. That's what she said. And he comes over. And he's like, yo, you got to stop this. I don't know what's going on. Cut it out. He's so confused. He's like, okay, kids, that's enough. That's enough. We're done. We're done. All right. You did good. You did good. The police are coming, and we're going to be getting citations. I want you all to call your parents. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? And they sounded good too, right? How many people saw that? Do you all watch that? So sad. So sad to me. But they said it was a miscommunication, and it wasn't anything that was like a big deal. They said it was just a miscommunication. They didn't get the information or something. Let me see. And let me see if I'll just blow this up because my eyes are getting a bit older. I'm getting old. I'm going to be 52 on June 11th, and I know a lot of you are probably older, but I feel so old. I feel so tired all the time. Okay, Capitol Police, they issued a statement saying they were under the impression the group didn't have permission to perform in the building. You can't sing in public, people. This is a problem. And then they later issued a second statement saying there had been a miscommunication, that police were not aware that the speaker's office had approved this performance. So they're like, hey, settle down. No big deal, okay? We just made a mistake. Or did they? That's the thing, right? Or did they? Have you noticed that like American values have gone bye-bye? Every American product has been like demolished. Multicolored beast, right? There's another way of looking at it too. You know Joseph's brothers? Jay Massey put this on Twitter. I thought this was so interesting. Joseph was given a multicolored coat, a coat of a rainbow, if you will. And his brothers, they were so jealous that Joseph was getting all the attention, that he got a whole month named after him, that they're like, I'm going to kill you. They wanted him dead. And they threw him in a ditch. And then he was sold into slavery. And then guess what ends up happening? He ends up working for Elon Musk, and he saves the world. It's basically what happens. It wasn't Elon. It was a pharaoh. But my point is, it's just interesting that we see all of these American companies being just demolished, and we see American values being demolished, just squashed. Why do you think that is? The people that run the country have big-time connections, make a lot of money with those companies over there. The Great Red Dragon. Biden's son, he has big deals with them, I believe. I believe The Trumpster has big deals with them as well. He's a businessman, right? And so he has a lot of businesses over there. But I also think Truth Social has something to do with it. Hey, you know who else is connected to China? Is Twitter. You know, China's smart, man. And they're everywhere. And so, I mean, is it so far-fetched? I'm not saying this is the case. God forbid. Because, of course, when Trump comes in, everybody's going to think that it's going to be America the great. And USA is going to be back. We're going to be make America great again. Or it's all a big hocus pocus spell. And there was a reason I had that dream. And it wasn't that he was like laughing and carrying on like he was, you know, God was going to bring him back to do good things. God would bring him back regardless to do whatever God wants. But it may not be so great for some people, is what I'm saying. But perhaps maybe this is all a big show, right? It's all a big show. I mean, for crying out loud, we had our rights taken away. Beaches were closed. You couldn't go to a park. There was a park I walked down the street. It was taped off during the old virus. Who does that? Like nobody even goes to that park, but you get in like big trouble. Does that sound like America the Brave? Sounds like somebody got sandbagged. Yeah, remember Joseph Biden sandbagging? He fell over that sandbag. Sandbagging, meaning that we appear to be a certain way, but it's the end of an empire, people. That's what Jack Dorsey said. Now, once again, I am not saying this is the case because God forbid, I don't know if this is the case. I do know that Elon thought that his tweet, end of an empire, was fire. Nobody knows exactly what that meant exactly. But it certainly got a lot of people saying, well, what empire are we talking about? Could it be the harlot system? It seems to me like we will be seeing a big return to Twitter soon for even Donald Trump. I wonder if he's going to do his spaces next. Which, by the way, the spaces, you know who showed up on the spaces? Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard. That's right. I don't know why. I got a feeling about her, too. You know, I'll tell you why. Because when her, you know, and Clinton and Kamala, and they all went and did battle for the primary, which, by the way, all of a sudden doesn't exist anymore. Does that sound like America the Brave? The whole Star-Spangled Banner. Does that sound like America? Like, oh, so we're not going to get a chance to listen to the candidates debate each other? You're just going to tell us who we're going to vote for? Does that sound very Democratic or Republican to you? Sounds like the end of an empire to me. And I think that's maybe what he was talking about. And maybe that very shortly we're going to see how all of this starts to kind of come together in a way that maybe isn't so great for all of us. But who knows? You see, if you take a look at that tweet with Trump there, my next piece is called Nothing Can Stop What's Coming. He's playing the fiddle. That's Nero. Playing the violin, if you will, the fiddle, as everything burns down to the ground. Who knows what this means? The genius says. He's a genius, by the way. Did you know he was a genius? Scored off the charts. He's a genius. But he doesn't get the reference of him playing a fiddle as everything around him is burning. I don't know. Maybe it's the calm before the storm, everybody. Maybe that's what it is. JS just said, I got banned on Paul Begley because I kept telling him I had to poo. That's weird. It's a weird little comment that you put out there. Paul Begley. Paul Begley. Oh, by the way, let me show you something. Paul Begley. I have reached out to Paul, by the way, many times because a lot of people think that we're related. We're not. A lot of people think that we're kind of like cut from the same cloth. We're not. We have very different beliefs. But I like Paul. You know, he's been on there almost as long as me. He's a very interesting guy. He's very funny. You know, him and Noble Gold and whatever else. And he's got great information. And he said some weird things in the past about, you know, I guess. But speaking of Paul, I found this strange. And I'm not selling the guy out because I reached out to him weeks ago and I said, hey, just so you know, you're wearing He-Man's ring. I didn't plan on pulling this up, but JS wrote this in the chat. Yeah. He's wearing the Jerusalem cross, which is a Freemason Knights Templar ring. Now, he probably doesn't know that. I reached out to him on Twitter. I don't think he has more fun. I like respond to everybody on Twitter. So if somebody email, and I get a lot, I respond. So clearly, he knows who I am. He's not responding for a reason. I said, hey, you know, maybe you should take the ring off or explain it. Maybe it's not a good look because I got stuff in the background that people are like, hey, what's the deal? You got a rabbit back there. You know, someone was like, what's the deal with this picture? I said, that's my daughter. That was her final in art. She drew that. It's her eyes. She has beautiful eyes. Looks just like her. So I reached out to him. I said, you know, because for whatever reason, that Templar ring, that Templar cross, it's like all over the place. He-Man has it on his chest. So I said, you got to be careful because people are going to think something. Not that I think anything, Paul. I just think it's lame that you don't want to come on my show. Because I would have him on. How funny would that be? Me and Paul Begley, right? Well, it's the end of an empire, people, so who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? But it looks like it's all going the direction it's supposed to go. And the only thing that can make this even weirder is if, say, like Elon, they have the series by Isaac Asimov. It's called the Foundation series. Really cool. A bunch of books I got. I got them. It's a bunch of them. I've read none of them, but I got them. I've read none of them, but I watched the series on I believe it's Apple TV. It's really cool. But they have this genetic dynasty, right? So there was a viral meme of Elon as a baby going around. I had that in the thumbnail. That's probably, you're probably like, why is there the child there? Because I was just thinking, let's pull up the thumbnail so I can explain my thumbnail to you, just to give you an idea. So if you look in the background, who's really behind everything is the dragon. Who's behind the wheel spinning the gold? That's Rumpelstiltskin. The Trumpster. You can turn poopy into gold, right? And who's the child that's in charge? That's Elon. And of course, if you look, you got boom, the end of the empire, and Betelgeuse in the background. You see, my thumbnails, they make a little bit of sense. But, this is the day we're in. This is the day we're in. We can't distinguish between reality and AI generated images. Like I thought, oh my God, how cute is this baby? He looks just like Elon. Turns out it wasn't even a real baby. It's just made up. Just made up by artificial intelligence. Everything's made up today. Who knows what's real? Hey, you know what I know? I know I'm real. I know you're real. And I love all of you. And I'm glad you're all here. And you got to tell me in the comment section if you think that this is already a done deal and we're just ready for that thing where they have that treaty that they put together and everything's got to be digital currency and everybody's got to be digitally linked up and everybody's got to be in line with the social credit score of whatever. I think, and I like to remind people, if you do good and if you're kind-hearted and you're bettering society, you're going to be okay. God, when the darkness comes, it doesn't come for the Israelites. They had light in their house. You're going to be okay. I like to remind you all this. If anything, just being on this channel for years, I mean, it's happening. Exactly as I kind of said, I think it's going to happen this way. It's happening. So should we get stressed out and be all scared, or should we be like, God's totally in charge. I got nothing to worry about. Shenandoah Mountain, baby, right? It's all these things, they're all happening exactly the way God ordained for a reason. And then he gets this guy, this meatball here, and prompts him to look into this and look into that. Why? To tell you about all the craziness. You just got caught up on all the stuff that's online, and it's all connected in a roundabout way. It's the end of an empire, people, but it's the beginning of God's kingdom. How about them apples? I don't know if Jack knows that, but that's the case. Jacob, it's me. All right, I love each and every one of you. Please do me a favor, will you? Get a copy to Colin before the prices go up, because they just emailed me again. They're like, oh, we have to increase the price because the paper costs more or the print costs more. Amazon is always doing this. So right now it's on sale. I think it's like $12.12. If you want the paperback, go in there. Thank you for the reviews. We got like, I don't know, we need like 15 more reviews. We're over 1,000 reviews just for the paperback. We got thousands of reviews. Thousands of books have been sold. I kept the price very, very low. But once again, I'm going to go into the negative. So I don't know. Before they raise the price, get yourself a copy. And if you want any of the merch, in the description of the video below. Have the best night ever. I hope you're doing amazing. I love you all. I thank you all. And if you want Patreon, hook up with me there. That's the best way to support me. I answer everybody's email there too, but a lot quicker there. You get priority because you're helping pay my bills. So I'm grateful for it. And I guess I'll talk to you all later. Let me know in the description of the video. I'm not in the description, in the comments of the video, if you want me to talk about certain things or if you want me to do things different. I usually do this. I'll go on I'll do a spell of live shows. I'm going to do a spell of produced shows. If you'd say, no, Jacob, stick with the live shows, I like them better, you tell me. If you like the produced shows, they're coming anyway, so you'll be happy. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.